Hello and welcome to the 2019 Formula 4 Southeast Asia Championship, fueled by Petron. My name is Aaron Thompson and we'll get you to all of the action in Race 1 in just a moment, but before then, let's have a quick walk down the pit lane.
Hi, welcome to 2019 season of Formula 4 Southeast Asia. This is our fourth season of the F4 Championship here in the region, and we have a 15-car grid for the first event at the Sepang International Circuit. I hope you guys join us during this season.
Thank you very much, and now let's head up to race control to watch the start of the race. And as you can see, all the cars are coming around turn 15 at the infamous Sepang International Circuit. They're going to take their positions on the grid in just a moment, and then we'll be underway. But before then, let's have a quick run down the starting grid. On pole position, after having a stunning qualifying in the wet, is Emil Scaras. Hadrian David from France just behind him. Malte Jacobsen takes up the third position ahead of Luca Allen, Elias Sapanen, Josh Smith, Ali Akabi, Shriyan Naidu, Alistair Young, Lyubov Ozerio Waskovia, Abdallah Bashara, Muiz Mushafa, Talal Bashara, and Lewis Leeds and Luke Thompson unfortunately couldn't make it down this weekend. But there's the green flag being waved at the back of the track. The red lights are on. In just a moment we'll be on the way, and here we go. All the cars seem to have gotten away. Alistair Young in the yellow perhaps. No, sorry, yellow was last year. Alistair Young in a different color now in the blue car. But coming down the main straight, looks like we have three wide. Looks like Emil Scaras in the purple car on the left-hand side of your screen maintaining his position. But that blue car, who's that? That must be, who is that? Can't quite make up the number, but he did manage to make a move as another blue car went around the outside, took position coming in the inside of turn 2. Brilliant maneuver. That might be Malte Jacobsen, or it could in fact be Luca Allen. I think that's Luca Allen from Ireland up in front as they come past the Malaysian flag on the first lap, corner 3. Coming up the hill now, a bit more of a hill than you can see here on the screen. But as they come into turn 4, it looks like Emil's going to try and make a move around the outside as Malte tries to make a move around the inside, but not quite, and the two red cars just behind them seem to have switched positions. Coming down now into turn 5, this should be interesting. We know if there's close action at turn 4, it normally lasts through turn 5 and 6 and maybe ends up getting concluded at turn 9. But it looks like Luca has pulled away just a little bit twitchy there from the purple car. That's Emil Scaras from Sweden in number 4. Although he is right up behind Luca Allen in the number 3 car, just in the front of the grid. Coming around turn 8 there, we can see the blue car, Luca Allen, still leading us down the one of the straights here at Sepang, coming up into turn 9, which is a sharp left-hander up into a nice little hill. Looks like Malte Jacobsen's going to move up the inside, goes a little bit wide over the rumble strip there, but he maintains his third position just ahead of another red car just behind him. I can't make out who that is, but we'll have an update for you in just a moment. Coming around turn 11 now, very, very close together, but you're not going to make a move in the dry here at turn 12. It's just too fast a corner. But turn 14, we have seen things happen before. Muiz Mushafa in 2017 made some very interesting attempts, didn't quite pull it off. But last year, Adam Cowlett and Alistair Young had a scuffle here, which was amazing to watch. But coming down the back straight now, that's once again Luke Allen. Here we go. That's Malte making his move down the inside. Coming down the start-finish straight now. Let's see where all the positions update. Crossing the line, you've got Luca Allen in first, Malte Jacobsen just behind him, Emil Scaras in third, Hadrian David in fourth on the grid, Elias Sapanen, Alistair Young, Josh Smith, Ali Akabi, Shriyan Naidu, and as I'm saying that there's some more action going on. Looks like Emil's taking his position back. Maybe he overbraked a bit because now he's lost it again, but he could dive up the inside and touch. Oh, there's been a collision. Oh, that's a front end plate gone flying into the other car. That's number 26. That is Hadrian David from France. I hope his car is okay. I hope he's okay because that looked like a bit of a hit there from that rear end plate. Sorry, I should say the front end plate. But anyway, at the front of the grid, unfazed, Luke Allen. This is really what he wants because now Emil Scaras, who was serious competition, you can see his main plane is a quick replay here of what happened actually. You can see the purple car on the left of your screens comes across, tries to drive down, doesn't have enough space, collides with the left rear of Malte Jacobsen. Hopefully he doesn't get a puncture and he can continue the race. Seems to be able to do so far. But there's France's Hadrian David in car number 26, the red car. And it looks like the marshal's on track there, cleaning up the end plate. You can see it there. Emil Scaras now down into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th position. But he seems to be hanging in there. But you can see, if you look at his main wing, you can see it hanging down. It looks like he's actually dragging across the floor. Oh, not quite. Maybe it's not as badly damaged as we thought. Hopefully he'll be able to get back some pace. We have seen that before. The drivers managed to complete the race without an end plate because it's It is a part that tends to go in small little collisions like that. Coming around turn 11 now, this is now the battle between Malte Jacobsen and Hadrian David. That's the battle between Denmark and France. Bit of a lock-up there from Malte at the front. Could set up Hadrian very nicely here. Looks like he's going to be right beside him coming out of the corner. He might do exactly what Malte did last lap on Emil and dive down the inside, or he might go around the outside. Look how close they are there. But Luke Allen is now going to be blocking Hadrian in on the outside line, so he might have nowhere to go. Let's have a quick look down the main straight now and see what happens between these two drivers. Let's see if Hadrian can make the move stick. Looks like he's done just that, because there is, oh no, excuse me, I'm mistaken. That was another red car just behind them. That would be the red car of, it must be Elias Seppanen just behind them from Finland. But here we go now, down into turn 1. This is where Hadrian's making his move. Hadrian in the number 26, the red car. Malte tries to cut back around the outside now, but doesn't quite have the momentum. Brilliant start though for Malte in third position. He's got to be very happy about that. Hadrian in second. He's also got to be quite happy. Now he's got to try and close down the race leader, who has, because of this competition, built up a bit of a gap. Last lap he did a 2:14.067 and Malte did a 2:15.130. So you can see the difference in lap times that fight between the second and third place drivers caused. The difference between the leader and the second place car at the start of the race, at the start of the lap I should say, was 1.5, 1.6 seconds. It's probably a little bit more than that now, maybe 1.8 as they come into turn 5. But this is Alistair Young in the yellow number 20 car coming into the pit lane. Probably just checking out, maybe he ran over that end plate at turn 1. Maybe something came out of that accident after all. But now back to the front of the grid, it looks like that's the blue car of Malte Jacobsen in position 3, just ahead of Elias Seppanen in car number 58, just behind them, 22, that's Alistair Young. Excuse me, I keep making the mistake. Last year, Alistair Young was driving a yellow car, and that yellow car, number 20, that would have been Abdallah Bashara who actually into the pit lane, or his brother rather, Talal Bashara, as Malte Jacobsen runs quite right, and the other cars follow him through turn 11. Coming now into turn 12, this is a beautiful corner. It's 150 kilometers an hour in these F4 cars or more. As you come now into turn 13, a little bit of a lock-up there from Malte again. We saw him lock up under pressure from Hadrian David last lap, but down the start finish, or the back straight, I should say now. You see Malte there in the blue car, right behind Hadrian David. He's too far behind to make anything happen this lap, but hopefully he'll be able to close in and give us some more action in the coming laps. 13 minutes to go. Just for your information, ladies and gentlemen, this time around this season, it's 20-minute races for each F4 race, which in Sepang comes to about 10 laps. So we still have 13 minutes left on the board, so there's lots of action to go. And you can see the purple car of Emil Scaris there, just crossing the start-finish straight. He is right up behind that blue car in front of him, who is Alistair Young. So I think we're going to see some action there between the two drivers, but Emil might have a bit of a problem, especially in the corners where he's now obviously got less downforce because of the collision he had right here a few laps ago where he lost his front right end plate. Coming through turn 3 now, that looks to me to be Elias Seppanen from Finland. Elias may be the youngest driver on the grid, but not a unexperienced hand. He has a lot of racing under his sleeve, and he's showing it this weekend. Standing strong in 4th position right now, doing 2:14.3s, which is only 3/10 off the leader. Having said that, though, back at the front of the grid, Hadrian David just did a 2:13.536. That's 5/10 faster than anybody else, and he just set the fastest first sector this lap around. But Luca Allen is matching him again in the second sector. Allen is only 0.08 of a second behind Hadrian, so he's definitely responding to the driver behind him, and I'm sure he has slightly better tires, as he hasn't had to have the scuffle between some of the back markers, or I shouldn't say that, but some of the 3rd and 4th position drivers that Hadrian David has had to contend with to get up into his second position. But coming around turn 10 now, or turn 11 I should say, that looks to me to be Luca Allen, car number 3. You can see the gap between him and Hadrian David in number 26, just behind him, is very close indeed now. The two drivers are pulling away from Malte Jacobsen in 3rd place. He's doing a 2:14.557, as we said earlier, and the gap now is 9/10 of a second. At the beginning of the lap, Hadrian was 0.8 of a second behind Emil, behind Luca, I should say, but look at the gap between the two drivers now. It's definitely not that much. You can see it looks like Hadrian is right beside Luca. He might be overtaking him on the straight or down braking into turn 15. Luca might have the better line, though, on the exit, but Hadrian's going to switch back up the inside and try to get alongside him on the start-finish straight. Can he do it? Not quite. Luca just keeping the position a little bit. Oh, that's weaving through ice. That might be problems there for Luca Allen. We've seen Luca defend beautifully from another French driver, Alessandro Giretti, last year. This might be history repeating itself because Hadrian now is going to make a move down into turn 1, but we've seen Luca Allen come back beautifully from this kind of thing previously last season, so hopefully he'll manage to dive down into turn 2, maybe into turn 4. Not quite at turn 2 though, as the two drivers now come through turn 3, but this is brilliant action. Wonderful to watch this stuff. This is exactly what we want from Formula 4 racing, as we see a red and a blue car there of Hadrian David and Luca Allen come across the Malaysia start-finish straight. Two more red and blue cars right behind him. That's Malte Jakobsen and Elias Sapanen. Luca going to try and make a move left, right, not quite enough space, but he's set up nicely on the outside of turn 5, which is where you want to be. Turn 5 is a flat corner, so you need as much space. You need to be as far out on the outside as you possibly can be to get back in and maintain your momentum. So look at that, that's car number 20. That was Abdallah Bashara, or rather his brother Talal Bashara, back on track. Great to see that. Hopefully we can get back to the front of the grid now. Luke Allen just seems to have dropped back a bit coming through turn 6. Now they're going through turn 8, but these are very high-speed corners. There's no braking at all, or even just a little tap of braking perhaps through turn 7 and 8. So that's not Luca's fault. Maybe he can catch it up now through turn 9. A little bit too far back, obviously, to make the move, but coming through turn 10, if he sticks on him nicely, he can get some slipstream through turn 11, turn 12 maybe try and make a move again through turn 15. Maybe we'll see some more overtaking at turn 1 next lap. Of course, as everybody knows, at Sepang, turn 1 is really the place to make a move, but as I say that, Luke Allen goes a little bit wide coming out of the exit of turn 11. That's going to set him back, unfortunately. You can see the gap between the red and blue cars, the leader and second place, France and Ireland, Hadrian David and Luke Allen is definitely increasing a little bit this lap. Coming down the back straight now, we've got Hadrian David taking us through turn 15 in just a moment. Luke Allen just behind him in the blue car. Behind them, Malte Jakobsen, and it looks to me, ladies and gentlemen, like there's a yellow and blue car fighting for position here. That yellow car, who could that be? That must be Ali Akabi, I believe. It looks like he made the move stick as he came around turn 15 on that blue car. Who would be in the blue car just behind him? Let's have a look as they cross the start-finish straight. Yes, that's Ali Akabi and Alistair Young. So Ali has made a move on Alistair Young and is now into position 6. But Alistair's not going to give up. He's got a line here that might be advantageous, but perhaps Ali can go around the outside and take it back in turn 2. Alistair seems to close the door quite nicely, though, as the red car just behind them, that's Josh Smith, is taking advantage of this fight. He's going to try and jump on these two drivers coming into turn 4, I hope. Josh joining us this weekend from Australia, experienced hand in F4, had some racing last year in the F4 SEA Championship, so it'll be great to see these three drivers battling it out. Of course, Alistair last year got a lot of experience in F4 SEA, and this is his home track. So, he's got a bit of an advantage here. I think that's maybe what he used to take back the position from Ali Akabi at turn 1. But Ali's got a lot of testing under his belt, so he's not an unexperienced hand. So he will be fighting as hard as possible to get back into position. As we look back at Talal Bashira now, coming up through turn 10 and 11. Talal joining us from Bahrain, Team Bahrain, racing this weekend with his brother Abdallah Bashara. But back to the front of the grid now. We can see they're actually closing in on the back of Abdallah as they come up through turn 9. Side by side now between that 64, which is Ali Akabi, and 5, Josh Smith. The yellow and red cars on your screen just now. Coming through turn 11. Maltese that would be Alistair Young sort of taking advantage here as Muiz Mashafir comes into the pit lane. And car number 64 gets a 30-second grid penalty for start grid infringement. Car number 64 would be Ali Akabi. That's bad news for the Iraqi driver because he's fighting for position at the moment. But as we say that, around turn 14 comes Alistair Young, Ali Akabi, and Josh Smith. They're fighting for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Just ahead of them, Emil Scarish is in 5th position, still missing his front left end plate, and trying to catch up to Elias Sapanen, who is now 1.1 seconds ahead of him. Ali trying to make a move here again. We saw him do this last lap. Maybe he's not quite in the right position this time around. Maybe he might try and dive down the inside of turn 1 as the cars come down the start-finish straight. You can see how close those three drivers are together. But let's run through the positions as they cross the line. So it's Hadrian David in 1st, Luca Allen in 2nd, Malte Jakobsen in 3rd, Elias Sapanen in 4th, Emil Scarish in 5th, Ali Akabi, Josh Smith, Shrien Naidu, Lyubov Azaria Waskovia, Abdullah Bashara, Muiz Mashafir, and Talal Bashara. Coming around turn 2 now, you can see these blue, yellow, and red cars are still fighting for position. It does look like Ali has broken away a little bit from Josh behind him and is now trying to catch up to Alistair just ahead. It would be beautiful to see an overtake now through turn 4, but the 3 drivers are separated by just a little bit too much of a margin to make that a reality. As they come around turn 4 now, we can see that the 3 drivers are about equally separated. At the beginning of the lap, they were separated by about 3/10 each, with Ali doing a 2:14.7 and Alistair Young doing a 2:14.5, and Josh doing a 2:14.5 as well. So the Bahraini driver, a little bit slower the last lap, 2/10 slower. As we come around turn 10 now with Moise Mashafa, he does seem to be going a little bit slow there. Moise had a big accident in qualifying yesterday, and they had to rebuild his car. So there might be something wrong there. We have seen him dive into the pit lane. Of course, our mechanics working all night to try and make everything perfect, but it never can be. And come race day, you've just got to make do with what you have. And Moise Mashafa is an experienced hand, and he knows that. Back out on track, trying to gain every position, every point that he possibly can. Get as much experience as F4 can offer him. As around turn at 12 now comes Alistair Young. Alistair Young building a nice little lead for himself from Ali Akabi just behind him, perhaps because Josh Smith is at the heels of the Iraqi driver, I should say. That might be slowing him down a little bit because he has to drive more defensively. Coming down the back finish straight, we can see the 3 drivers still in position now, as this looks to me to be car number 12 just behind him. That's Moise Mashafa. Coming around turn 15 now. Sorry, number 12 is not Moise Mashafa, that's Shrien Naidu just behind them. Shrien Naidu, very good. He's going to catch up to these drivers as this battle between the 3 of them continues, and then we'll have a 4-way fight, which would be brilliant to see. But coming down turn 1 now, is anybody close enough to make a move? Not quite, as Luca Allen in the blue car coming all the way from Ireland, having competed in F4 UK last year, races just behind Hadrian David. Luca doing a 2:14 dead, and Hadrian doing a 2:13.3. So Hadrian's definitely found some pace here that Luca doesn't quite have, at least on the last lap. But we have seen the Irish driver in the 2:13s earlier in the week. It looks to me like Hadrian gained his time in Sector 2, where that's where he found 3 or 4 tenths. Sector 2, for your information, ladies and gentlemen, starts after turn 3. So that's the segment we're looking at now, this high-speed corner 5, 6, 7, 8. Very interesting to watch in F4 cars because they're actually all overtaking corners. We've seen Kane Shepherd and Alessandro Giretti do some amazing things last year around this track. And we've seen already Hadrian David and Luca Allen performing beautifully in the season opener. But around turn 11 now comes the red car just ahead of the blue car. That looks to me to be 26 and 3, the leaders. Just in front of them is the yellow car of Talal Bashara. Now Luca Allen's taking us through turn 9, up the hill into turn 10. Big right-hander now. This is now sector 3 that they're coming into. So Luca in sector 2 did a 29.2. That's only it's only one tenth off of Hadrian, so he's definitely responding. He has the pace. He could still catch up to him, but there's only 2 minutes left, which means there's about a lap left. And really, there's no way he's going to close in a 2-second gap in 1 lap. So we might be looking at the end result here, ladies and gentlemen, with another French driver at the front of the F4 SEA grid, Hadrian David this year, and just behind him, Luca Allen. But I shouldn't speak too soon. I don't want to give anybody the commentator's curse because there's still a lot of action left to go. And as we know in F4 and in F4 SEA especially, everything comes down to the checkered flag. Coming around now, just been informed that this is going to be the last lap, and that looks about right because there's 2 minutes left on the board. These cars all doing about 2:13s, 2:14s, and coming down the start-finish straight, we can see everybody crossing the line. Let's have a quick run through the order. We have Hadrian David in first position, Luca Allen in second, Malte Jakobsen in third, Elias Sapanin in fourth, Emil Scaris in fifth, Alistair Young, Ali Akabi, and Josh Smith still fighting it out, but the positions remaining the same, with them all in 6th, 7th, and 8th, respectively. Shrien Naidu is in 9th position. He's followed by Lyubov, Ozeria Roskovia, Abdallah Bashara, Talal Bashara, and Moise Mashafa. Moise seems to have come back into the pit. Unfortunately, I'm sure that's to do with the rebuild of his car yesterday from his incident in qualifying. But back to the front of the grid now. That's the red car, number 26 of Hadrian David, coming around turn 5. Beautiful to see. I love this corner. It's just brilliant to watch, especially when the cars are going 2 or even 3 wide at the entrance there. It tends to thin out through turn 6 and comes down into single file through turn 7 as the cars try and maximize the speed and of course the any advantage they can find as they come down through this long straight now, because there's a hard braking point about 100 meters from turn 9, which is a sharp left-hander, more than 90 degrees. Maybe you can see it here, ladies and gentlemen. It's more like 145 degrees as they go uphill into turn 10, which is a sloping right-hander, about 90 degrees into turn 11. Again, another 90 degrees, but a nice sharp corner this time. So this is where a lot of action can happen at turn 9. And then you have to build it back up again if you want to try and make something happen in turn 15. But as we know, ladies and gentlemen, Sepang is famous for being a very switchback circuit. So if you take the advantage at one corner, of course you're going to be disadvantaged at the next corner, and the driver is going to try everything to take it back from you. In fact, we saw that earlier this race when Ali Akabi made a beautiful move around the inside, I believe, of turn 15, overtaking Alistair Young, and then Alistair managed to find his way back at turn 1. I think the start-finish straight here is 800 meters, if I'm not mistaken. So 800 meters, that's what gained Alistair Young back one position. Coming down the start-finish straight for the last time now. Can we see the checkered flag waving as Hadrian David passes the start-finish line? Might be just off screen at the moment, but there we go. We can just glimpse it, and Hadrian David, all the way from France, takes the first position.
I got a good start. I think it was like 4 wide coming into the first corner. I was on the very outside. Just managed to kind of get it on the brakes. They might have been kind of squabbling on the inside. And yeah, managed to get up to P1 after the second corner. That kind of set me up for the race then. Unfortunately, we had a gradual puncture on my left tyre. Well, Hadrian is very fast also to start off with. So he caught me with my puncture. It's very hard to keep up with him. You have to really adapt yourself. You have to open your mind a lot and kind of think of all the different lines and think back to when you were testing in the wet before. Obviously the rubber is going to be slippy, so you try to stay off the rubber and slow in, fast out. Yeah, big thanks to my family and sponsors.
It was a really good start. Yeah, the first lap I was in second position, and then Emil he hit me in second corner, and then my rear rim bended a bit, and then I lost some pace, but then I managed to finish P3. Maybe, but if it's gonna be raining again tomorrow for the last race, because it's at the same time as the last race this day, so maybe I have to change the lines and stuff. Big thanks to all my sponsors and my family, and they make it possible for me to race here.
I'm really happy with today. It was my first ever race in Formula 4 and managed to win both races. Unfortunately, got penalized because of a jump start. But yeah, still happy with the job done today. I really love the track. It's like a really big track. We don't have the same in France. Yeah, really good atmosphere. It's the same kind of championship than in France. In France, we have also only one team for all drivers. So yeah, it's really good. Not to get penalized and win both races again. Rookie feels good because I'm just starting Formula 4. So as I said before, I won race 2 but got penalized, so tomorrow I'll just keep it up and try to do my best as always, and hopefully to be on top once again in the rookie standing and the main standing. As always, my sponsors and my parents that make it possible.
Really, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of the first race of the season and indeed the first race of the weekend. So from me, Aaron Thompson, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you tune in again next time.